Exploring ground with the use of pop-up art with Miss O. Establishing a foreground, middle ground, and background is really helpful in producing space and depth in your artwork. To start, let's look at a famous painting by Rene Magritte, Bowler Hat, 1964. Here, the dove is our foreground. It's the very closest thing to us in the painting. The middle ground is the man, and the background is the blue wash. Just like Man in Bowler Hat, our pop-up is going to have a foreground, middle ground, and background. My foreground is the rocks at the closest part of the page near the river. My middle ground is going to be the tree line and the mountain range. And my background is the sky with the stars, the moon, and the owl. To begin, you're going to take a 9x12 piece of paper and fold it to create a horizon line. Your horizon line is the point where your background will meet your middle ground. For me, that's the sky and the mountains. For this project, we're going to be using construction paper along with colored pencils to create an atmosphere that goes with whatever theme you decide to use. I started with my background and added some stars and a little bit of shading on the edges to help it look a little more like nighttime. I glued that in, and then I know I'm going to have grass in my middle ground, so I just put green paper, and that is set right at our horizon line. My blue paper was a little short. I would have liked for it to go all the way down and touch the green, but it'll work for this purpose. Once you figure out where your middle ground needs to sit, you can go in with a ruler and draw lines as I've done in that middle ground area. Those pieces are 1 inch apart, and this will help support my mountains. Now that we've got the lines drawn, we can use those marks to cut slits in the paper and fold the paper out to where it comes toward you. This gives your paper a platform to glue your middle ground on. This is where I'll add my mountains. As you can see, I've cut it out of gray construction paper, and I used a blue colored pencil to give my mountains some detail as well as illusion of depth. Now to add my tree line. To give them a little bit of a base to stand on, I'm going to turn my picture over, and I'm going to extend the slits on the left and the right to help give them stability. I will push the fold further out and add the glue. Then I'll attach my green tree line as well as the grassy area in front. Feel free to be as creative with this part as you'd like. Maybe you don't have solid green like mine is. Maybe you have water and then you have sand if you're doing the beach. So you could do blue and then brown. It's up to you. To help with the illusion of depth, I created a river that runs from the foreground to the background that slowly gets smaller the further back it gets. This is called perspective. I also wanted to add 2 rocks at the foreground to help everything come together and really give the illusion of foreground, middle ground, and background. To do this, I cut my rocks out of a light gray paper, added detail, and then took a small piece of green construction paper and glued it to the back. The tabs that I created will help me have something to glue down without cutting into my overall picture. For a little added detail, I cut out an owl silhouette as well as a moon to put into my background. Similar to the tabs that I made on the rocks, I made little fold cutouts to put behind both the owl and the moon to give us a shadow. This is again not something I'm going to require, but if you want to go above and beyond, this is one way you could do it. I can't wait to see the beautiful pop-up creations that you create.